So for the live streamers, all this is being recorded and you'll be able to watch it over the next week. After that time, we hope to have some good quality YouTube videos, well edited, that will show these great speakers we've had.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very funny because you don't know what life gives you. Just here on this scene was a guy. He was in the American Army, listening to the Russians, and I was on the other side. Actually, I'm from Russia originally. Oh, that was you, yeah. And I was scrambling the signals of Russian military in order to not let this guy to listen to it. It's crazy, really. So I came to Denmark for 28 years ago. That's 30 years ago, almost. So I'm from Denmark, and originally I'm an engineer, telecommunication engineer, as you understood. I stopped my career for 20 years ago, and for 8 years now I've been working with people directly. First, I opened, crazy enough, private music school, where I've been working with personal development of both young people and adults. Then I started working with mental training as a mental trainer, based not on thoughts, but on managing muscle tension. And it's my own technique. I call it dancing sword, based on martial arts. So I've been working with. I started working with stage fright with musicians. Then I started working with athletes. My own child, he became professional football players, 14 years old. So I've been coaching him. Then I started coaching some of people from his, from his team. And it happened that two of them had exercise-induced asthma. So I stopped it pretty fast. And then I understood that it's pretty interesting. It was not real mental training. It was more than that. So I got international certification as breathing educator with a technique called Buteyko technique. And the Buteyko technique is pretty interesting because what it does, it changes automatic breathing patterns in your brain. And that's how medulla oblongata actually regulates breathing through chemoreceptors in the bloodstream that are measuring CO2, partial pressure of carbon dioxide. That's actually what regulates breathing. So then I got my first cancer client. It's just one of my friends with glioblastoma multiforme. So, and that's how I came into the ketosis, because I really wanted to know, to help him, to save him. It was terminal stage, and they gave him 2 months to live. We stopped glioblastoma. Glioblastoma vanished. 1.5 years of very, very intensive breathing retraining, together with ketogenic protocol by Thomas Seyfried, Dr. Seyfried, where we've been a keto to a level of ketones to level 2 glucose has to be about 1. So it took us 3 months to come up to 1. And I had special engineer. I made a special tracking system online based that I now use to my clients. For my clients, it takes about 20 measurements a day. So I have Dr. Seyfried. I also presented Dr. Seyfried and other clients of mine with chronic lymphatic leukemia. 2 years work, we stopped leukemia. Leukocytes went down without chemo, without radiation. And I have 2 years data. It's like 700 lines of data with 20 measurements a day, showing how the breathing data changes slowly, normalizes, and then comes into the regimen of super health, actually. The same with the ketogenic, and there's a lot of interesting correlations there. Thomas Seyfried does use a bariatric oxygen chamber, and I do it the same, but by changing automatical breathing patterns. Does mean that it's not just now when you are in the chamber, it's all the time. And that's very, very practical. So now I work with asthma, diabetes 1, diabetes 2, neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. What I did based on the one-to-one sessions now. I made a 50 weeks course in 3 languages. We worked last year with 2 of my colleagues. I have a little team. It's 50 weeks education on physiology, and I'm engineer. We engineer, and I'm very honored to stay here, be maybe the last in the line of the engineers presenting on this forum. We are trained to connect the dots. That's the engineer function. So 50 weeks training is connecting the dots of the protocol that I created. I call it Integrative Health Protocol. And it's based on Leonardo da Vinci. You remember Vitruvian Man standing in the circle? So this plane, it's called energy acquisition from the environment, when you optimize energy acquisition from micro and macronutrients from nutrition, and you optimize oxygen on the cellular level, because oxygen on the blood doesn't matter. It's oxygen breathing, it's on the cellular level. Respiration, it's a cellular phenomenon. And then we have a triangle from the head to feet, and that's I call resilience triangle. It's about optimizing the distribution of energy in the human body, and that's mental resilience, physical resilience, and immune resilience that are all interconnected. And the protocol of 5 and the star creates, it's mathematical, it's 5 stars create 10 pairs, unique pairs. In these 50 weeks, that's a unique protocol that teaches based on the latest 15 years of the science, because one of my partners, he's a researcher. He tracks all the newest science to map it into our protocol. So I learn it and I put it directly into my teaching. So what I want to say, remember, please raise your hands if you say that there's a 2 macronutrients for human beings. Who thinks there's a 2 macronutrients? Good. It's 3 macronutrients. It's from nutrition, we know that's fat. That's not carbs. Carbs is not essential. Essential macronutrients. We have carbs, it's not essential because it's made inside of our body. Fat, exactly. Fat, protein, and oxygen. We have 3 macronutrients. So why I'm staying here? Because I want to give this message. We have to cooperate. Because I'm a breathing trainer, I'm also worked with nutrition. If we work with heart disease, for example, because you see people with breathing trainers, they work mostly with asthma because they can stop asthma in 2 months. And there's an epidemic of asthma in the world just as vast as epidemic of diabetes. That's what you guys do. But together we can create a very, very strong synergetic effect. Okay? So if you want to check more or see some of my videos, so check Sakharoff.com. I can give you my card. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Misha. Lovely. It's great. That was really nice.